That's a spokesman from the Advanced Nigeria Democratic Party, the party that basically argued that they were unlawfully excluded from participating in the poll, and that's what led to this nullification. Well, to assess the implications of this latest political twist, I'm joined now in the studio by Arise political editor Sumna Shagari Sambo. Thank you very much indeed for coming in. And of course, you were at the court today. Yet more political uncertainty in Bayelsa State. How has it come to this?
Well, let me first say that the person who was speaking there is the national chairman of the Advanced Nigeria Democratic Party. And
well, that makes him a spokesman.
Well, in this instance, you would have national chairmen actually being the ones to speak. So with all of this that has happened today, the Independent National Electoral Commission is actually at the heart of what happened at the court today, because the ANDP actually went to court saying that they were unlawfully excluded, and the INEC said it actually excluded them because the deputy governorship candidate of the party was underaged. He was 34, and INEC had written to inform the party that he was 34, and the party agreed quite all right, but they pleaded for time to actually substitute this candidate. But just when they were about thinking of substituting him, INEC went ahead to conduct the elections without giving them room to substitute this deputy governorship candidate. And eventually they had to go to court, not only based on that, but for the fact also that the party was not on the ballot paper. And what the Electoral Act actually says that every party that is duly registered must actually have met the criteria for actually participating in an election, must be presented on the ballot paper. So they were not there, the party logo wasn't there, the party name wasn't there, and the deputy governorship candidate had been excluded. So these were some of the grievances that they took to the court. And it's not only this party, there were 5 parties in all. 3 of the cases were discharged on Saturday, and the governor was successful in that. And then we had this issue, the ANDP, coming much earlier, and then they just finished with the Accord Party. So in all of this, one of the striking things here, Charles, is that all these guys who have been given troubles within that election are all deputy governorship candidates.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Including that of the incumbent governor, who's deputy to. Some of the cases that
why do you think that's the case?
I mean, it's politics. Because the thing is that most of the times the political parties do not take their time to actually investigate some of the credentials presented by the political, by the candidates. And then also we have a situation whereby the Independent National Electoral Commission actually doesn't do what's called due diligence in ensuring that the parties act right in accordance with the Electoral Act. And then the most important one, the constitutional aspects. Now, if you look at what they are agitating for the ANDP, you will see that it's clearly based on a constitutional aspect, which is for the fact that everyone has a right to actually seek for votes to be elected, and then to be on the ballot paper. And once they follow the procedures, there's no reason why they should be excluded. So the judgment was actually based on this. Now, you had a 3-man panel, and one interesting thing that happened in court is that the chairman of the panel of the tribunal actually gave a dissenting voice.
Really?
Yeah, saying that he disagrees with this conclusion, in the sense that the request being made by this party that was victorious now was a pre-election matter. And so they should have approached the Federal High Court and not the election tribunal. So this is at the heart of all of this. But one thing that is predominant...
But this is going to go on appeal, though, isn't it?
Yes. The governor right now, and that's the latest news which Arise News will be bringing to you tonight, is that the governor has sought an appeal at the Court of Appeal. And not only that, he has asked for a stay of execution.
Yes, I was going to ask you that. So he continues as governor.
Yes, he continues as governor, because that's always the quickest thing to do. If you don't do that, I mean, the judgment could actually take effect.
Yes. But I mean, in spite of that, how much disquiet is this nullification likely to cause in Bayelsa, a state that's already quite volatile politically?
One of the disquiet is likely going to cause is for the fact that the ruling party in Nigeria, the APC, is actually trying to look for a window to see if we could explore issues like this and get back on the ballot. So the idea is this has happened, and we've heard some of the views being expressed by some of the APC leaders of thought right now, saying that if the tribunal ordered a 90-day fresh election, and then that the deputy governorship candidate of the party of the APC then, that had previously led to the nullification of the victory of the party then, could actually withdraw. And if he withdraws, APC will nominate a fresh candidate to be the...
which gives them a chance to run in that election.
But that actually may be subject to a Supreme Court interpretation. Because the Supreme Court had previously ruled that if a fresh election is being called and a fresh election is to be held, it is only those parties that participated in the previous election that would have the right to field candidates in the new election.
The APC didn't actually...
Yes. So in the eyes of the law, based on the previous Supreme Court judgment, the APC was deemed never to have participated in that election.
So I mean, oh my goodness, it sounds like, I mean, I'm glad you're the one who's interpreting this, because you clearly know what's going on. Are we in for a pretty fractious 90 days of election campaign fever, legalese, legal sort of tussles and so on, or is there, I mean, there is an appeals process that, as you said, has already stayed the election, and that challenge is there now, is it?
Yes, that challenge is there until that appeal goes to the Supreme Court and eventually the Supreme Court disposes it. If a call by the tribunal for fresh election to take place in 90 days can only come to effect if the case goes to the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court says the tribunal is actually right from the lower
So you think
court.
it's going to go all the way to the Supreme Court?
Yes, because
again?
I mean, even the Governor Douye Diri said it's not quite long that he had instructed his lawyers to actually file an appeal at the Court of Appeal, and that he's willing to make sure it gets to the Supreme Court. So in all of this, what we will be saying is that it will make the polity much more heated again. Because the thing is that right now, I can tell you, the governor is standing on one leg. And as a result of that, even the intrigues within his party will start coming out now. You see some people not pledging full loyalty to him any longer because they are no longer sure that he may emerge victorious. But if he does, then it sets the template for peace. But if he doesn't, I can tell you that even if the APC doesn't present a candidate, it will definitely want to influence one of the smaller parties to actually present someone that will be favorable to them. And hopefully if that party displaces the PDP, then that particular person will defect and come back to the APC. It's happened severally in Nigeria here.
So a lot of political intrigue to come. And at the time when the Supreme Court took the decision to declare Governor Diri the winner, that decision appeared to be popular with Nigerians, was it? I mean, I'm just wondering how they'll react to this one, the Nigerian population in general.
Charles, the Supreme Court decision was one that actually shook a lot of Nigerians, because we've never really had a situation whereby a party candidate is declared winner, and just on the eve, in fact, he had even David Leon.
Absolutely,
he was on the parade ground doing rehearsals and all of that. I mean, it shook everyone. But politicians are what they are. They like to explore all loopholes, and that's the same situation that we have here. With all of this happening, the intrigues will continue. There will be lots of pressure within the internal mechanism of the party, and the ruling party too, at the country level, will also be wishing that it's an opportunity, but they will have to go to the Supreme Court and seek more interpretation. And a lot of lawyers and senior lawyers, to that extent, would have to be involved in all of this, because at what point in time would APC want to get into that? Because they had been insisting that it was a high level of injustice for an election to be won by a candidate, and that candidate is disqualified from enjoying the privileges of an election just because of his deputy. Why not step aside the deputy, or ask that the deputy actually be excluded or replaced, so that the person enjoys the benefit? Because majority of the electorate actually voted for the candidate, not for his deputy.
Yes, absolutely.
So they are aggrieved, and they will see this as an opportunity to actually explore all legal loopholes.
But I mean, isn't it something that could be examined from the point of view of changing the law? Because I mean, the APC and all the rest of them, they are the majority in the National Assembly. I mean, couldn't they look for a means of trying to change the law? I know it's an electoral law, and it's, you know, but I mean, isn't there a means that they could have used to try and, you know, turn things around?
It's at the level of the Constitutional Review Committees of both arms of the National Assembly, that's the Senate and the House of Representatives. But the interesting thing here is that if it goes for constitutional review, it will have to go back to the states, and you will need a two-thirds of the states.
It has to be ratified.
24. But if it's an Electoral Act amendment, that's where the ruling party could actually have an edge. And what will they do? They will use their majority in the Senate and House of Representatives to ensure that some of these provisions are put in place to ensure that next time when a ruling party, whether it's the APC or someone else, wins, and you have a scenario like that, the party that won will not be excluded just because the deputy did not meet certain criteria. So it's left to the APC to actually see if the Constitution Amendment Committees and then the both chairmen of the Senate and House committees on INEC are able to amend the Electoral Act in such a way that it, you know, doesn't make the country to invest so much in elections and then you have someone else benefiting, or you even have a situation like this. Charles, let me tell you, this same scenario, it's almost like what happened at the presidential election, where we had a party, the People's Democratic Movement, actually saying that they were excluded. The logo wasn't included and all of that. But somehow the ruling APC was able to get them to have an out-of-court settlement. And that issue was settled out of court.
Very interesting.
Unlike what we have here.
Thank you very much indeed. Samna Shagari Samba is the Arise political editor. You're watching the Arise interview. Plenty more still ahead, including as more than 1.5 million secondary school students in Nigeria sit their final exams today. We asked how prepared are they after months of disrupted learning due to the pandemic. Stay with us.